but we don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy, ha ha. It's a 6-Rig Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-Rig champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6-Rig Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Welcome back to the 6-Rig Kane Show. We are live on Monday night as we get ready for ACC play as the Miami Hurricanes. The real season starts now. So, Danny, DJ, Blue, Vish, we recapped the win against South Florida on Saturday, but we will talk a little bit about that as well, and then we'll get into some Virginia Tech. I think that. Kings fans, understand how important it is, to take on one of our. I mean, they're one of our rivals, right? So, how important this game is, regardless of how good or bad Virginia Tech is, this is a really big game for the Miami Hurricanes from that standpoint, and also because it is the start of ACC play, which is, as we know it in this day and age, the most important thing to kind of get that playoff seed or to get into the playoffs and compete for a national title. First of all, you got to win your conference. You got to stay hot. You got to stay healthy. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Before we get into that, let's mention our. Who's clicking? I hear clicking a lot.
There's some background.
Yeah, there's a lot of clicking going on.
Let me. Yeah, it was Blue. I muted him. It went away. There was Buzz getting clicking. Blue's got to clean
Blue, you gotta stop
out.
clicking.
Something's going on Blue's audio. You're muted now because I muted you, but there was a lot of background. Let's see if we can clean this up while you do You Break, We'll Fix.
All right, yeah, let's do it. You Break, We'll Fix. Our You Break, We'll Fix, our official sponsor here at 6-Rig Kane Show. Have you ever run over a pothole so hard your steering wheel shakes, constantly losing air in your tires that you need to keep adding air? Chances are there's an issue with your wheels, and You Break, We'll Fix is your solution. You Break, We'll Fix is Miami's premier wheel repair and restoration company. With over 20 years of experience and located in North Miami, You Break, We'll Fix offers quick repairs for damaged wheels and, in most cases, can offer a free loaner wheels to keep you on the road while they repair your damaged wheels. If your wheels are looking weathered and it's time to freshen up your car, don't replace, refinish. Their in-house wheel refinishing solutions, such as powder coating, machining, and polishing, will give your car the like-new look it deserves. Make sure you contact Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or on all social media outlets at You Break Wheel Fix. That's at the letter U Break Wheel Fix. Mention 5 reasons and get 5.5% off your next repair. Again, it's You Break Wheel Fix, powder coating, and wheel repair. The number 305-748-0112, located at 1848 Northeast, 1848 Northeast 143rd Street in North Miami. Again, that's You Break Wheel Fix, 305-748-0112, 748-0112. Did we get that audio?
Let's see if Blue unmutes. Let's see how if we're Blue. Can you unmute and let's see what happens here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Much better. I don't know. What
I
that
haven't
was.
done anything. I just said.
It's just like my headset. Right now, I don't even use it anymore because that headset drives me crazy. So,
we'll start with this. It's on the crawl there, but 7:30 on ESPN, the big channel.
Yes, it is 7:30. All of us will be there except DJ, of course. But
I'll be there in spirit.
We'll be there, definitely. Yeah, we've got a big game coming up. But really quick, before we get into Virginia Tech, I wanted to kind of just close the book on the South Florida Gators. South Florida. Wow, did you see what I just did? The South Florida Bulls. As we went up there and we took their lunch money and everything else that they had, we beat them 50-12. Blue, I kind of wanted to start off with you. We spoke about their running game and how important South Florida's running game is to that team, right? And then post game, Vish and myself and DJ, we spoke about it as well. We had to go up there and we had to stop their running game, right? They've got Naquan Wright, that kid. What's his name, Junior or Keith? They've got a lot of guys in that backfield, and they run the ball really well. They also have their quarterback that has some great wheels, right? So you had to be able to stop, first of all, their tempo and their tempo running game. I think at the beginning, Miami had some issues with some fatigue, maybe getting lined up properly. You saw some penalties. However, they did the same thing, right? And that's the biggest deal with that tempo is penalties on both sides of the football. So it was sloppy, but Miami was able to stop the running game really well. 32 carries. 32 carries for 62 yards, I think, total. Blue, do you think that that's what really was able to propel Miami to be able to execute on all the other fronts and be able to stop that running game eventually, kind of settle in and score that many points that they did?
Well, the one thing that I got out of it, first of all, the announcers are pretty stupid. I mean, they're sitting there 4 times they mentioned about the heat and humidity, like Miami's in Barrow, Alaska. And I even made a note of that at halftime. And when they came back, I think Riddick must have read the post. He said, well, what I was trying to say is the tempo, and he put his foot in his mouth again. But I'm thinking, well, if you're running up tempo and the defense is getting winded, what the hell are your offensive linemen going to be? So that was kind of a wash. I think stopping the quarterback and neutralizing him was, or as my buddy said, the 2025 University of Miami quarterback was the opportunity to try to, set the tempo, and because they weren't stopping Miami. If you're going to run an up tempo offense, your defense better be able to stop somebody. So. And that wasn't in there. And, they came out with a good game plan. Goalish kind of like do the book in the first quarter and a half. And I was thinking about Vish because I broke this game down exactly. And he was going, oh, look, it's going to be like the Florida. I broke this thing down exactly to the T. And I said they run away in the second half, but in the first half, and I was going over, it'll be 7-0, 7-6, and Fish goes, oh, yeah, we heard that in the Florida game. But I was thinking of you every time, but they did put it in the gear. But the whole thing is he threw all these different trick plays at him, some good offensive plays. The freaking their little white guy outdid Miami's white guy. And I watched that kid in high school, and he was a beast at Vieira High School. I mean, but you never thought he was fast enough to play at that type of level. But they had a lot of gimmicks. They had a lot of tricks. Defensively, they weren't very good. Evident in a couple of games that they played this year. Their offense moved the ball, but their defense couldn't stop anybody. But this is, as Vish said, and everybody says, this is a whole different Miami team than we're used to seeing over the last 20 years. And we saw it, even into the fourth quarter with Lyles going 90-something yards with the touchdown run. And, in the past, I don't think there's so much depth and on defense. And the thing is where they kind of neutralize the defensive line to what we've saw in the first 3 games, because he wasn't a pocket passer. He'd get out of the pocket real quick. See, and that kind of like took, those Barron, although Barrow had an awesome game because he kept coming up on the middle, but the edges weren't really in play the whole night because just the type of movement, when he ran, he as soon as he got the ball, he was moving out of the pocket. So that took, and I think maybe that was either his play, which I think it is, or they were watching what Miami did in the first couple of games, especially getting after the rusher. And I thought their offensive line in the first half was pretty good, but then you keep thinking to yourself, well, that's because of the offense that they run. I mean, if he was all this guy did was be a drop back passer, he would have got Miami would sack him left and right. So, yeah. But the defensive secondary play has probably come as far in the spring as any part of that, and that could be because of the front seven's stupidly good. But yeah, as far as Miami and offense, they pretty much did what they want.
Well, I think also you kind of mentioned it a little bit. That defensive front four, even the front seven is so nasty that after a while, even like you saw it during the end of the second quarter, and then for the rest of the game is once they started really imposing their will, you noticed that at that point that was it. It was all over. I mean, Byron Brown, and I kept saying this, right? I kept saying this in my head. I'm like, you got to put a couple of licks on Byron Brown. If you put a couple of licks on him, he's going to slow himself down. He's going to start sliding a little bit more. He's going to start staying in the pocket a little bit more. He's going to make bad decisions. Same thing with Bryce Archie when he came in. He's obviously a little bit more of a drop back passer, so you were able to get more pressure on him, hit him, and cause some turnovers late in that game. However, I think that the biggest change for that game was, number one, that tempo they couldn't keep up themselves because Miami. I mean, someone said, the best way is for tempo is to tire out Miami. Yeah, all right, good luck with that. Okay, first of all, we play in the same temperature, right? The same weather. So as far as them getting tired, probably wasn't going to happen. We were too good, too strong, too fast up front, and we started dominating those lines. And you start wearing them down, you break their will, and that's how you hit that 91-yarder at the end of the game. That's how you score 50 points, is by breaking the other team's will and completely dominating them. And Vish, I think that, even Blue mentioned it, you mentioned it, everybody kind of mentioned it, was the play in the trenches is always going to be a strong point for Miami. And we saw it again. But, of course, I mean, the offense is unbelievable. But if you can play like that on defense, give up 15 points to a team that plays tempo like that, and not break. You had a couple of drives where you bent a little bit. They came out and like we mentioned, right? They threw everything at us. They emptied the playbook with their trick plays and all that stuff. Only were able to get one touchdown out of it on a trick play. If Miami continues to do this, there's no way that they're not going to be able to dominate those trenches. Do you think that was the main reason why Miami was able to pull ahead and just kind of take off and dominate this team throughout the rest of the game because of how their play was on the line?
Well, I mean, Miami is better at every single position, so it's not just the play on the line. If you take whoever you want to say USF's best player is, Miami is a better player at that position. If it's Byron Brown, you'd rather have Cam Ward. While that receiver, and actually, question for you in the chat, Blue, what year did he play at Vieira?
18.
I mean, he wrote 2018. He roasted us, but he wouldn't make our 2 deep or 3 deep. I mean, it's the reality of, look, there's different levels of football. And to your point, Jazz, not only did the only touchdown was on a trick play, that drive was set up because Jacoby George passed them the ball instead of catching it and running for a touchdown. So, yeah. I mean, that's the whole field was. I think he was almost so open. The field was open in front of him. He kind of looked up, and instead of looking the ball into his hands, and flipped it up in the air, and they intercepted it. So, when you make mistakes like that and win by 35 points, it kind of tells you how because those are ones where you're thinking, oh man, if it's a better team, that that was a 14-point swing on one play and still won by 35. that kind of tells you. I mean, again, though, it's there's levels of program here, and the USF is just not on Miami's level. Certainly not this version of Miami. USF's like ceiling and Miami's floor overlap. That's why not only did they beat Miami in Randy Shan's last game, but then I think the next year or the year after that, that classic game where the Canes won 6-3 on a last-second field goal. I mean, those are some of the worst Miami teams.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some of the worst Miami teams we've seen, and some of USF's better teams. Then they do overlap. So it's not that. I mean, Miami's lost to FIU. It's not that they can't lose to teams on this level, but this Miami team is light years ahead of those teams. So, and you're seeing that. A shout to Norman, by the way.
There you go. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't want to cut you off. Shout out to Norman, man. $15 dono. Appreciate it, man. What's good? What's good? Yeah, DJ, were you impressed with, again, we'll kind of close it out here and start talking VTech now, but were you impressed, again, by anything that Miami did that kind of, stood out to you a little bit? Was there anything that, you said, wow, I didn't realize that it was this good, or this, or they were this good at this position, or on this type of play, or whatever the case is? Is there something that kind of stood out to you?
Well, Miami in the past has had 1-star receiver and a bunch of, B players, 1B, 2A, those type of players, secondary type of wide receivers. On this particular offense, I mean, there's just studs everywhere at the wide receiver position, I believe. And Vish, I think you might have corrected me on this, so you can correct me again. Miami had a catch from at least 9 different receivers, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. And, I think that just spoke to the depth that this wide receiver unit had and still has. So I was really impressed by that, just the ability to be able to spread the ball around without too big of a drop-off. They were able to get everybody involved. And I think that bodes well for future conference games. And sure, we've talked about the depth, and sure, it's easy to see when you have this much talent at wide receiver, but just to be able to execute it over the course of a game was pretty impressive to me. And then just neutralizing the running game of USF. I mean, we kind of talked about that in the pregame, how that was going to need to be a focus, and they were able to do that. I mean, USF broke off some, medium runs early, but Miami got it cleaned up. And so I think just neutralizing the running game, which is what USF does best, and then just spreading the football around to as many targets as possible were just two really, encouraging things that stood out to me.
Yeah, no, you got it right. 9 receivers.
Okay.
Again, Cam Ward does his thing again and solidifies his spot as a Heisman front runner there with 24 of 34 for 404 yards, another 3 touchdowns, ran the ball for like 30 or 40 yards as well. The receivers, I mean, Zay Horton had another nice night. X had another nice night. Sam Brown finally got in the action, scored his first touchdown as a Miami Hurricane. And even Jacoby Jordan only had 2 catches, but, and that one catch was going to go for a touchdown, and then he technically.
He had 1 catch and then one completion to the wrong team. I mean, what do we call that? Jazz wants it to be marked a fumble, but I don't think he ever had possession.
I know. I wish
he wants that to be a fumble. So
I wanted to be a fumble because I mean, it wasn't much better. It wasn't a much better thrown ball. I mean, that's hard to put that on Cam, And if I look back at it, it looked like he made a football play and lost it. So
we just don't want Cam to own that interception. He never had possession, but
anyways, so yeah, obviously the offense still looks really good. The tight ends got in some action. No touchdown. Sorry, DJ. Sorry, but
you win some, you lose some.
I'll tell you what, the blocking that they are doing.
Yeah,
some of these plays is incredible. Elijah Lofton even gotten the action. He's going to be special. But for me, man, the kid that's going to be the most special out of this running back group is that kid Jordan Lyle. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it. I think he's going to be the best one when it's all said and done. He's going to be one of the best running backs at Miami when it's all said and done. I feel like the kid has the perfect combination of everything that you want in a running back: size, the speed, the agility, the shiftiness. He's got it all, man. To me, I think he's a special player. So really excited to see him get some more playing time. However, I will say this before we get into Virginia Tech. You got to get the ball more to AJ Allen because when he got the ball, he showed some explosiveness. Blue, I know you love AJ too, man. You got to get the ball more to AJ Allen. Guys, see Chris Johnson also. Obviously, we missed him on that wheel route where he kind of flexed out, and Cam underthrew him big time. But I think those guys are. I mean, I'm nitpicking, right? I'm doing exactly what we should be doing right now, even though we're so explosive on offense. Get the ball more to Chris Johnson. Get the ball more to AJ Allen. But honestly, from a running back perspective, the running game is slow to start. Sometimes I know they stack the box and all that, but eventually you're gonna have to run with stacked boxes like that. Just the bottom line. AJ Allen seems to have a good idea as to what he's doing. The other guys do as well. But I love his style of running. I love what he's done so far. Jordan Lyle looks good. The other guys look great also, so it's tough. But yeah, man, if once those guys get the ball in their hand, they're fun to watch, man. They're electric, and Chris Johnson, I think he's going to be a big asset to this team down the road as well because you've got so many options that you can kind of create some different plays and formations. So, what does Pimp Down say here? If I'm not mistaken, Vieira had a few wide receivers that went D1. I believe one even made the NFL. Blue will know more about that.
Yeah, kid went to Penn State and then came back to USF, or UCF. I'm sorry, not bad. But this kid the Sean kid was kind of like a gimmicky kid at this level. I mean, everyone's sitting there telling me, "Oh, he's like Rashad." I said, "No, he's not."
He was a walk-on at USF. He just
he was. He was a walk-on and earned a scholarship because he's a feisty little guy. Like Vish said, he's not a guy that's going to ever start at a game at a Power 4 team, but certainly at the level he's at right now, he could lead the country in receiving. I mean, the kid will catch them 11 balls a game if you let him. And the thing was, he was
Saturday.
Huh?
He did Saturday. He caught 11 balls Saturday.
No, I remember him last year in the bowl game against Syracuse. And I said, oh, my God, I thought he was a little gimmicky kid. And I said, wow, but then I said, I know that kid from somewhere. And I remember he set all types of record at Vieira High School. And but he didn't get a lot of play. I think his parents family had bright futures. And so he wanted to go to USF and he figured I'll walk on. So. Hey, it was fun to see a lot of the South Florida kids like Naquan, and Naquan got no blocking whatsoever. He just got that ball, boom.
We stopped the run, and that was big.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, the one thing, Jet, then I cannot, and maybe it's just we're adjusting to what the defense is doing. I can't figure out our running back rotation. Like we barely saw Fletcher in this game after he had been. It's just full on. I'm assuming they're coming in. Well, I think it is probably adjusting to what they think the defense is going to do, and because we have, to your point, Jazz, it's so deep. It's almost like there aren't any wrong answers. So it's kind of like, oh well, this might be more of a game for Damian Martinez, who's really good receiving as well in this game, which was big. And so he got more playing time than Fletcher in this game, and then obviously Lyle at the end broke it open and made our stats look a lot better. But but yeah, no, it was more Martinez. I think this is probably the most Martinez has played this year. Nothing wrong with that. It was just kind of interesting how we keep rotating backs in, but also featuring a different one. It feels like in every game, depending on maybe how the game. I don't know what they're keying off of, but it doesn't. I know they're not just winging it. I get that. Like I'm not able to pick up what the rationale is. Well, it's all working. It's all working, so it's fine. But
once they brought in AJ Allen, I was like, okay, they see something there because he was on it. He was in on like multiple drives, and you're like, okay, maybe they see something there. But then they bring Martinez back in, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's Martinez. I'm not sure, but yeah, like you mentioned, it's working. So. Whatever, just
it's tough to stop down near the goal line, that's for sure. So
I'll tell you what, how many times have we gotten down there to the goal line and we're like, how the hell are we gonna punch this in? Because we're not great on the offensive line, or we're soft, or the running backs. You're just nervous about it. Now Cam is coming to the line and saying exactly where they're gonna go, and he hands the ball off, and we get through like Swiss cheese. I mean, the holes are huge.
Yeah.
And Daniel Ward is getting through, and Fletch is getting through, and whoever it is that's behind, in the backfield is getting through without a problem. So how?
Yeah,
how
I mean,
good
like just go back to last year,
you're gonna pull
Jazz. The NC State game was lost because couldn't execute inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
Now it's just hand the ball off, and
you're good.
I mean those one. I mean, so first of all, everyone's stressing about yards per carry for Damian Martinez. When you have a bunch of 1-yard touchdown runs, it's gonna
look like
that's gonna ruin your yards per carry. Like, stop stressing that. But
I'm sure he's not stressing it. I'm sure.
But those are usually like those touchdown runs. He walked into the end zone.
Yeah.
When they all knew where we were. I mean, that isn't. I know it's USF, but that's impressive when you physically dominate that bad that they can't even touch the running back in a situation where both teams know you're running.
Right.
I mean, that's like you said, it's light years from last year.
Yeah. And you think about the depth of running back, and you got Parrish starting at Ole Miss, and you got Chaney playing extensively at Louisville. So that shows you where Miami's direction is as far as their running game, because I don't think either of them would get on the field very much.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know what? I want to answer this question. We'll get to Cree Sullivan in a second, but Kane, Idaho. And by the way, Ralph earlier said 42-45 again.
He's going again.
Oh man!
Actually, before we pivot, do you want to do our other sponsor, and then we'll clear out these questions?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Yeah.
I should have had it up before I asked that. Here we go.
Guess what, everyone? Football is back, and it's here to stay until February. Did you know that you can enhance your football viewing experience with Underdog Fantasy? Join over 1 million fans across 33 states that made picks on Underdog last year. My personal favorite is the higher or lower stats entry on my favorite NFL players on Sunday mornings after watching the Canes win on Saturday. The website is easy to use and the contests are easy to enter. I love playing CeeDee Lamb higher rushing yards and waiting for the Cowboys to run a reverse. I never got into team fantasy football because I didn't want to cheer against my own team, but with Underdog Fantasy, I can support my team by making picks for higher stats. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code 5REASONS. That is the word 5 reasons spelled out FIVEREASONS. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code 5REASONS, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit over. Must be 18 or older to play, 21 or over in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 or over in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783. Or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369.
Okay, we're done. Nice. Real quick, Kane, Idaho. So why are all these teams why all these teams are scheming to stop the run? Okay, why are they scheming to stop the run with a Heisman favorite quarterback back there is crazy to me. I really don't think that they're actually scheming per se to stop the run. I think they're just, they're loading the box up a little bit. They're coming with, 6 or 7 guys. What they're doing a lot of is they're trying. If you hear like Louis Riddick and some of these guys on Saturday, is the defenses are actually trying to scheme to throw Cam Ward off. Period. They're trying everything they can to rush from different areas. They're bringing guys late. They're showing one coverage and then trying to switch to another after. They're doing everything they can actually from a passing perspective. And he's still able to do what he's doing. I don't think that is a. I don't think they're necessarily scheming to stop the run at this point. I think at this point they're just scheming to try to stop anything they can, and it's going to be tough to do that.
Yeah, right now they're just trying to give him looks to see what they can kind of confuse him, see if they can get him to kind of tip his hand at the line. And right now, he just looks like he's playing, a video game of some sorts. It's not really confusing him at all. And they can try, but it's not working. And props to them for trying, but good luck.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Blue, you want to answer this question really quick from Chris Sullivan? Hey, Blue, as a whole, I like the safety tandem of Powell and Davis over Cam Kitchens and James Williams way better overall. They play with fewer mental lapses. Do you agree with that?
From a productivity standpoint, yeah, because James Williams was out of position for 3 years. Cam was a playmaker. You can't down what he did. I mean, obviously he was a heart and soul back there and probably saved the game or so just with his playmaking. But I mean, Powell and Davis have experience, it's not like they just got dropped off here in Coral Gables and said, you get out there. But you know what? The whole thing is I'm not going to, take shots at guys who tried to hold this program together the last couple of years. Just when everything was bad, at least you could look at Cam and say, hey, he's got 5 picks but I always felt, and I said this with you guys and everybody else, James Williams was out of position for years. That's not.
I don't think at this point it's debatable. Like you see him in the NFL.
No. Yeah. So. But I mean, the days of the, Cam Chancellors and Lewis Oliver 6'4", 6'5" safeties they're finished. You don't get them anymore. It's just because
you do. They're called linebackers,
right? Exactly. Exactly.
Which is where James Williams is playing in the NFL.
Definitely,
Not
and he should have been. And that what Pat Surtain was the only one that had him. Had guts his senior year to put him in the box. And that's where he belonged. And but Miami just felt all along. There's sometimes when you're grasping for talent, you always say to yourself, and I've seen it a billion times where the college coaches, it's mostly the college coaches say, oh, well, they didn't coach him well enough. I'll get him in here and I'll do the job. Yeah. You 99.9% of the time you are what you are. It's just the way it is. I don't care what scheme, people go, oh, he didn't fit in this scheme. If he could play, he'd fit into any scheme.
That's true.
That's the way I feel. And you look at some teams have the 3-4 and some teams have 4-3. And if, like Miami, you got guys on that line, and I don't care if it was a 5-2. They'll still do, because they're superior football talent. And, and that's a difference here. And is that you have football players. You don't have guys, well, he'll be this someday. No, they are what they are, especially when you get guys who are 21, 22, borderline 23.
Right.
Because they've been, like when I was trying to explain this about Barrett, you just watch. I isolated on him, not so much in last game, but I did against Ball State. And I was watching him. Jesus. He just makes the offensive line look so inferior. Because his first step and especially because now he's working with Jason Taylor. And if you remember, Jason Taylor made all the difference in Nick Bonita, who, was playing in the NFL when Nick was, came from I guess, U school. And then he came to St. Thomas and he learned so much. And the same thing with Dallas Turner. When you get a guy and I tried to, somebody goes, oh, and Jason Taylor looks intense. Well, that's what he is. He's that type. He don't want anybody to he hates losing.
Really?
Jason Taylor, NFL Hall of Famer is intense. You got to be kidding me. No
wow.
way.
But I'm saying, Vish, being honest, he doesn't, he doesn't have to be here. Okay. There's a lot of guys who are Hall of Famers that really aren't,
for sure.
But here's a guy that I noticed when he was with St. Thomas. And when Miramar beat him, he walked across the field and he looked like he wanted to kill somebody. And I'm thinking that's just in his makeup, and that's
it's also interesting for him because while he's an NFL Hall of Famer and obviously played on the highest level, at college he didn't. This is still
you're right.
He didn't, and it's obviously a much lower level than where he was competing at, but still a new experience for him.
Yeah.
So I think he's
I
embracing it.
agree.
It's a challenge, right?
But there's sometimes you get these players who coach and they want you, like Pete Rose, when he was a manager, he wanted the guys to go head first. He wanted the guys to do what he did. And that's not always going to be. You got to let these, like Mattingly. Mattingly let the players with the Marlins play. He didn't say, well, you know what, I did this when you could just teach people. But with Jason Taylor, I mean, with his knowledge, because remember, the thing that made him so special with the Dolphins, he was technically sound. I mean, he could do so much, and that's what he's trying to, do now with some of these guys. I'm telling you, he's going to, with the athletes that he has on this team and the football prospect, he's going to turn some into really good NFL players just by working with them.
Well, USF did figure out how to slow Tyler Barron down by holding him.
Yeah. Well,
repeatedly, double team holdings, single team holdings, arm bars, tackles in the open field. Good. They should have put some of those guys on defense. They tackle pretty well.
Yeah, very well.
But so I mean that was how they did slow down the Canes. The Canes, they got the one holding call when they just blatantly tackled Mesidor when he was about to sack the quarterback, and that was it. So
this is what's funny about all of this. Like, we're talking a lot about Tyler Barron, a little bit about Simeon Barrow, but I mean, the guys on the other side are no slouch. Elijah Austin has been. And I'm not saying it because Elijah Austin
and Mesidor is always around stuff.
So much stuff happened in that USF game. We never even talked about Elijah Austin leaping over their offensive line twice to block kicks, which is a borderline illegal play. But
that was impressive, though. I gotta say,
I did look the rule up. If they're on the ground, you can jump over them. So and on the ground means something other than a foot on the ground. So. I mean, either it was intentional or on an accident, but if USF's lineman is not up out of his stance and still his hand down, you can jump over him.
That's what they were doing.
And they probably, I don't want to give the coaches too much credit, but that's an illegal play if you jump when they're up. So my guess is they picked it up on film that he stays down. Yeah. It doesn't. And so you can jump over him.
Yeah. Because on USF's point, when you're a kicker, Nico Grammatica was one of the guys.
What is that? What is that, man? That was all of that went wrong too. Like, they just, here's a freshman. It's a Grammatica, and he's gonna kick it from 60. Like, what? Still won by 35. Like that. That's when you know you're good. That's when you know you're good.
But I was just pointing out that their night was so tough that one of the 5 interviews in the locker room was him. So. But that was, that was.
He looked good though. He looked good.
Got a leg.
If he keeps it up, he can get in the portal and join a real program. So
we got one.
We already have another kicker too. Yeah, he's gonna have to redshirt. So if he wants to get any play time here.
Abram Murray could kick. So
got some other questions in the chat. How deep is this? All right, so now we're going to Holy Grail.
Well, we'll do the one.
Yeah, we're going to Holy Grail of running backs here. That is a tall.
That's tough. Not yet.
So this says 99. If you go up to 98, you add Edgerrin James to it. But so it was Edgerrin James, then James Jackson, then Portis, Portis and Gore was the backup. Then Gore got hurt, so then it was McGahee. Then it was Gore. Najee was playing fullback just because there was no carries.
What was BJ Williams, by the way? People forget.
Yeah, for his freshman year, he played fullback just to get on the field. And then we also, after that led into Tyrone Moss actually too.
Yeah, R.I.P.
That is. I mean, that's asking a lot of these kids. I mean, they're definitely the deepest we've been since then. But I mean that's an all timer.
Yeah. And the train's going to get deeper because the kid Pringle's coming in next year, and they may be able to pick another guy up in the portal. It's pretty special. It's a pretty special game, and we'll see. I wouldn't compare. All those guys played. All those guys played in the NFL.
All those guys played in the NFL, and then Edge is in the Hall of Fame, and Gore is going to be in the Hall of Fame. So that is again, we're really putting a lot of expectations. I think Portis was a multiple-time Pro Bowler as well.
He
Like
was.
this is
So was McGahee. I mean,
So was McGahee, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, this is asking a lot to compare anyone to that. But
and believe it or not, I
definitely-
think that McGahee had the best season of all of them with that 28
Yeah.
touchdown season.
Yeah, no. If he didn't, I mean, again, a lot of ifs around the Fiesta Bowl. That's definitely one of them. He would have been a top 5 pick, and
Yeah.
he never was, the same. Even though he had
No.
a great career in the NFL, anyway, he wasn't the same player.
That's tough though, because even with two bum knees or one bum knee, I think Gore had 2 ACLs also.
Yeah,
and they
he
still
also.
got to be one of the best backs in the league when they were there. So it's impressive. That's why it's yet to be determined. But do they have the talent? I think yeah. I mean, this is probably the best stable of backs we've had in 20 years.
We haven't
right?
even mentioned Hellcats here.
Yeah. We haven't even
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
him.
he is.
I mean, but
Yeah.
let's be real. This is 2024. Like some kids are gonna hit the portal. This isn't 1999 anymore. They're not gonna, because actually,
They won't all
well,
stay.
well, when Najee got banged up and missed the Rose Bowl, McGahee started at fullback in that game. Like that's not happening nowadays. Now it's I'm just gonna go transfer. So, not everyone's going to stay here. That's the reality. Of
No,
it.
but this
Well,
defensive
look,
line
AJ
also has
well,
an opportunity to.
If you
to
think
be
about
among
it,
the
though,
best.
we may not really lose many guys because Damian Martinez will be gone after this year. So will AJ Allen, right? AJ Allen, I think graduates. He's done also. So then you'll just have Fletcher, and you'll have Lyle and CJ and Humphrey Wheatley, and then Pringle. So you'll have them all back again. You'll run it back with Fletcher and Lyle. But anyways, yeah, it's a great running back stable. It's probably one of the best ones we've had since maybe Duke Johnson. But that was just Duke Johnson. We're talking about.
Yeah, no, we're talking about depth here that we haven't seen in 25 years.
Besides OSU, is there anyone in the country with a better group of receivers than us? Horton, George, Arroyo, and Lofton.
Texas?
Sammy Brown. You forgot Sam Brown. Texas has Isaiah Bond, right, who transferred from Alabama.
I think Texas got a few dudes.
They got a couple dudes there. I just think they're up there with they're up there
easily,
with those guys.
easily.
They're definitely up there with those guys.
Horton probably has as high a ceiling as anybody. I mean,
he's
6'4".
Yeah.
He's just right now showing people, and I'll tell you what, he's going to be as lethal as anybody over the next couple of years. And he's a package. He's an NFL guy. You look at that guy and go, well, he'll be in the NFL.
Yeah. He's too much. I mean, if you throw in the tight ends like he did with Arroyo and Lofton and even Riley Williams, yeah, we might have the edge on some of these guys. But look, Oregon's got some good ones with Franklin and Tez. What's his name? Johnson over there, I think is the other kid. So they've got a good wide receiver core also.
And Georgia's got a few kids that are pretty good. Yeah. Everybody's got them, but you know what?
I mean, Georgia's got Colby Young, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of cancels them out. Never mind.
I was watching some of the Louisville game, and I'm seeing Ja'Cory Brooks. Oh my God, damn, Louisville's like a second. It's like Dade County Junior over there.
Yeah, they've got a lot of kids. Jaleel Skinner's there too, so it's
I saw that.
Yeah, but yeah, they're up there. They're one of the top in the country for sure, hands down. Top 5 wide receiver cores in the country. Let's see what else do we have here. What if Horton runs like he's 5'11"? Yeah, he's the real deal. He's the real deal. Let's get into it before we I missed this one. TVD was doing fine last year until teams started rushing 3 and dropping 8. That's when the Andersons tried it, and Cam was. Yeah, we can't put those two names in.
Well, I mean, there's also multiple things. Like TVD got hurt before it, that was part of it. But look, I mean, like Jazz said, there's different caliber of players, but also we're just a much better team in total this year. But yeah, no, I mean, TVD is not on Cam Ward's level. But it wasn't as simple as they're just rushing through. He's not that bad that he couldn't figure that out. It was a lot going into it. The running game stalled out. Been a ton of injuries at running back. The offensive line is much better this year.
Right.
Just everything is clear. A lot of that has to do with Cam Ward too. Jazz, we talked about this on Saturday. Just the way he navigates the pocket
Yep.
Gives a lot more time to throw the ball. And he's a lead at that, just moving in the pocket, sensing the rush without it disrupting him and still getting the ball out. So it makes the O-line look better too. So a lot of that's credit to Cam Ward.
And he gets the ball out quick, which is something that Van Dyke didn't always
His
do.
release.
Yeah. No, his release is quick. And again, he buys time to do that. So he's as Blue said earlier, they're trying all these things to disrupt them. They're not necessarily even playing the run. A lot of times the reason they're trying to blitz to get pressure on him because they know they can't. But we talked about the receivers. You have that receiver group and this quarterback. Like, you can't play coverage. You can't do it. Everyone's saying, well, why aren't they playing the pass? What are you going to do? Sit there in coverage and let him chill in the pocket?
Yeah.
Someone's going to get open.
If you drop 8, it's
So they're trying to disrupt. They're trying to disrupt by sending people, which is why it's another reason it's harder to run because they got more people in the bots because they're trying to disrupt at the throw because they can't cover those receivers and if someone's open, he's going to hit them. So it's hard to stop.
When you do get lucky and tackle him, he laterals it back to Jordan Love for 20 yards. He got lucky.
Right.
So close.
Oh, man,
that was Duke kickoff days right there.
God bless those ACC officials.
Right? We can all say,
God bless those ACC officials, man. They hooked it up there nicely.
Yeah, they did. I'll take it though.
Although we are contractually obligated to point out that before any of that happened, we tackled Duke short of the goal line. They gave them a touchdown, reviewed it, and kept it, or the game was over and we won. So
typical ACC refs.
So it didn't necessarily roll out. Couple of blown calls. Actually, that whole drive was just them repeatedly making up pass interference on us. So there's if you want to start unpacking that game a little further, it should never have gotten to the kickoff. But
this is true.
Right team won, so it was a just result.
I agree. Virginia Tech Friday night under the lights. Probably some funky uniforms we're going to be wearing. Apparently, we might be wearing the black jerseys. We might be wearing those other orange and green ones, which are kind of cool. I like them.
Me too. Yeah.
But
wait, which orange and green ones?
You haven't seen the there's another style uniform. It's at the team store too. They've got the jersey with the big green numbers. Big green numbers and then the white stripes on the arms. You haven't seen it? That jersey? I'll show it to you, Vish. It's pretty cool. It's pretty funky. It's either that one or the black one that you have. That they might be wearing one of those. That's the rumor that they might be wearing one of those.
There's rumors going around.
Whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. Just keep winning, man. Just keep winning. This is a big game. It's the first game of the ACC against a rival, regardless of how good or how bad Virginia Tech is. They still got some players over there, right? Their quarterback, Kyron Drones, is, he's an athletic guy. He's very similar to the mold of a Byron Brown. Probably more of a drop-back guy. He probably likes to stay in the pocket a little bit more, but has great wheels, likes to get out of the pocket and run. This is a Virginia Tech football team that, regardless of, again, how down they are or how good they are, it's always a battle, man. It's always a fight with them. So this is another opportunity for Miami, again, to show who they are, come out firing, come out playing the type of football they've been playing for the last 4 weeks, and just get the ACC started on the right foot. Blue, we'll start off with you. You probably know a lot more of the players than maybe some of us do, but Virginia Tech, I mean, what are they, 2-2 right now? So
2-1, I thought, no?
Or I know they lost this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right? They lost this weekend. I don't know the exact schedule. As you can see, we don't show up.
Well, I will tell you this. They returned 25 kids and they're too deep. So they've got experience.
Right.
And as you mentioned, the Drones kid is pretty good. I mean, he's a mobile guy. He's going to cause some problems. But their receivers are better than people think. The Daquan Felton kid, I watched him last week. They also have the Ollie Jennings, who was there from last year. He's a graduate kid, and their offensive line's always going to be big. Braylon Moore at center, big kid. Maybe not like Pine was back in the day, but they're all. They get some really big guys. I know that the Lath Ganem kid's like 6'5", like 310. So they got some horses on the offense. Now defensively, I mean, Miami's going to pose some problems. I mean, I know they brought in the kid Aeneas Peebles, who was out. He's a graduate transfer, and then the Sam Brumfield. But I like the linebacker play. They have the Kelly Lawson, who I like a lot. And they're not a deep tongue. The kid, the Keyshawn Burgos kid, who is a defensive end, but he got pushed back because they got a kid that came in. The Aeneas Peebles came in and kind of took over. But yeah, and they got good special teams. I mean, a couple of those kids I saw at the Coles camp. Their kicker, damn it, what's his name? John Love. He was I thought he was going to go to Miami at the beginning. He's a sophomore kid, but then Miami had Borregales and he backed off. And they also have Pete Moore, who's a pretty good punter. So yeah, they're not a bad team. I mean, I think that, like you said, Jazz, is that they're an ACC team. They got Power 4 or 5 kids. And it's going to be a good primetime show for them. And they're going to come down and try to do what they can do. I mean, Miami's, as Vish said, Miami imposes their will on offense and defense. They're going to be tough to beat, but they're not going to come and lay down. This is a big game for them. Like I said, anything is a nationally televised game is going to be big. So, yeah, I think they got talent. But Miami owes them.
What's the line on this one?
Huh?
19.5.
Yeah, it was 19. Yeah, 19. But the whole thing is Miami's got some payback for them and for all those games that Miami went up and lost. And, and I still remember the game that they lost when, what's his name? Who's the kid who got paralyzed, the tight end?
Everett, Kevin Everett.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he dropped I was at that game.
Yeah, he was wide open, and that could have set the tempo
in
a different way. But, there were some games that Enter Sandman can be imposing, but hopefully
this one's in Miami, so
no, I said
don't need to worry about that.
No, I said it could be, but we'll see. I mean, Miami, you expect them to have a crowd, but it's a high school football night.
I mean, shout out to the ACC planners. These guys are geniuses. So, you got a rivalry game, which they inexplicably canceled for you. Let's bring it back. Let's put it in a major urban environment at 7:30 on a weekday. Because nothing, traffic doesn't exist. We're going to all get out there, the Palmetto, the Turnpike, I-95. It's all going to be wide open. And you just cruise up to the stadium. Idiots. They should never play home Miami games on weeknights.
Never.
There's too much traffic. It's like a nightmare. And then did we talk about this before the show or on the show? But then the Cal games at 10:30 Eastern, like these.
Oh my God,
we talked about it before. Yeah.
I mean, what you have one marquee program
on a Saturday night
that you want everyone to see, and you put it at 10:30 Eastern.
See, that's
by
why
the way, 60% of the country lives east of the Mississippi.
Yeah,
by the way,
much.
60% of the country lives east of the Mississippi.
The whole thing is that's why the Pac-12 folded, because they couldn't get a TV contract, and because how many advertisers are going to put millions of dollars up when basically nobody's watching at 12:30,
right?
Or 1, unless you happen to be a Miami fan. It's not going to be a marquee game. Granted, Cal could go in 5-1 or 4-1, so.
I think they are, right? Because I think they have a bye this week. So
that's right. So
they're 3-1. But yeah, I mean that's just bad playing by the ACC because you want that game on when people are going to watch it.
Sure, I would have scheduled for them a 4:00 kickoff.
That would have
been perfect for them. It'd be 7:00 here. You get a little bit of the audience, and I know Alabama's playing Georgia, and I understand that that could be a huge. I
thought that was this weekend. Am I getting my weekends mixed up?
No, that's this weekend.
That's this weekend. Yeah, that's next week. I can't
wait for that one, honestly.
So I'm just saying, you got to look at the games that you're going up against. That's this weekend, and then next weekend they have I think another pretty. Ohio State's playing somebody good too, or Penn State's playing USC too. That could be another 10:30 start.
I'll tell you what. What's great about all of this though is that football team, they're in Coral Gables, the University of Miami, doesn't give a shit when they play. They're going to go out there and they're going to win this football.
Oh no, they'll be fine because you just adjust your schedule. You start later with your pregame.
They'll go out probably on a Thursday, right?
Yeah, they'll be fine. It's just bad. Look, for a conference that's struggling to raise their profile.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
You don't
Yeah.
bury the marquee team at 10:30. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
idiot. That's just
From a
idiotic.
conference perspective, I get it. From a
Yeah.
team perspective, I don't think.
No, they're going to go out there and wipe the floor with them anyway. But that's in 2
Was
weeks.
that
This-
game? Was it planned before the season or no? The time.
the
Or they
time? No,
just
they
make-
released it today.
Today.
Oh wow.
It's
Today.
crazy. Stupid.
Yeah, no, they knew. They have one top 10 team, and they decided to do that.
Stupid.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway, to Virginia Tech.
We
So,
might not be doing it. Well, we'll do a post game show.
no, this is why we decided. So for everyone, this is an announcement I'm going to make. So we've decided to do post game shows the morning after games, and that leads nicely into that one. So because the 3 a.m. post game would not have been great. Which is a half joke. I mean, hopefully it doesn't run as long as the USF game because then it'll be a 4 a.m. post game. But
Wow.
yeah, so we will have a post game show Saturday morning. By the way.
Canes and eggs.
We'll
Yeah.
have a post game show. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yes, yeah, it'll be good. But Virginia Tech. So we talked earlier. We're actually leading into this discussion about how teams appear to be trying to stop the run. Virginia Tech's defense is interesting because they're really good against the pass. They're top 10 nationally in sacks. They cannot stop the run at all. So it's kind of a reverse of what Miami's been exploiting. So now's the time. We'll see. We'll see if again though that was coming into this week, right? It was USF runs can't throw. We loaded up, took the running game away. They were able to throw with some success, but that's not their offense, and it fell apart, right? And so, be interesting to see if we're able. Knock on wood, should be able to run the ball on this team. Everyone else has.
Let's put it into perspective. Who has Virginia Tech played? They played Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. I got statistics, man. I did show prep. Vanderbilt ran for 181 yards. Marshall ran for 147. Old Dominion ran for 243, and Rutgers ran for 153. They have a bottom 100 rush defense.
And how about passing? So they've played Vanderbilt.
They played.
But
the
when
same
you're
teams.
running that much, why would you?
You're not going to really throw out. So that's the question. But they are good in sacks, so they are producing even despite the dropbacks. They're kind of middle of the pack overall defensively. They're top 30 in pass defense, but again, doesn't necessarily mean they're good when you're running for 243. You're not really like, let me throw this ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's not been they're 2-2 against a not great schedule. Vanderbilt, Marshall, Old Dominion, Rutgers is not. If you come into if you told me Virginia Tech would be 2-2 on that schedule, I would have taken that bet that they wouldn't be. So. They've certainly underachieved.
They always have a tough time with Old Dominion, though. I mean,
that's a little Virginia battle. And then you mentioned drones. He's thrown 3 interceptions this year. He threw 3 all of last year, so he's a little bit. He's been a little bit. But again, when you talk about sample size and reverting to the mean, you'd expect him to revert back to not throwing a lot of interceptions because he did all that for an entire year. It's like he all of a sudden forgot how to play football, so that's contributed as well. So there.
Everybody,
I will say
everybody in Virginia is second fiddle now to James Madison. So
they put 70 up on North Carolina. I will say I think Virginia Tech is better than their record has shown. Like Drones did not all of a sudden start throwing a bunch of interceptions. Like he's fine. He's a good quarterback at this level. He's proven it. And
they always have size up front.
So yeah. So and then they're like Blue said, this is a major conference team. They've got that level of athlete. So this is not going to be. I mean, it's not going to be as easy a task as last weekend was on a talent for talent. But then it is at home, and this time, Blue, they can talk about the humidity and not look like idiots.
Yes, that's right.
Because
all right, so
from the mountains.
Let's do scores. What do you got, DJ? Prediction.
Let's see. I'm gonna go 41-17 Miami.
Okay. I like it. Vish, what do you got?
19.5, huh?
19.5.
All right. We've been coming up with some weird score totals. So I'll go 53-13.
Wow.
Okay.
Look at Blue's face. Oh, everybody froze up there.
I would hope their defense is better than that.
Yeah, what do you got, Blue?
37-17 Miami.
Damn, Blue, you took my score, dude. Are you kidding me? This is the second weekend in a row. Oh,
next time you go first.
I know. I swear I was going to say 37-17. All right, I'm going to have to switch it up, and I'll go.
Just so you're aware, you can pick the same scores.
Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't have to be different.
Nah,
You can't say the same score. And
Just
now,
pick 38-17.
I'm gonna go 38-17. Yeah, I'll go.
There
38.
you go. And you got me by a point. All
I'm
right.
gonna tell.
is it prices? I don't even know what we're doing with these
I tell
predictions.
Bob Barker. Bob Barker, 38.
Is it prices? Is it prices? Can I go $1? What happens? I don't know.
Yeah.
$1 more.
See, all I remembered last game is as I broke down the first quarter and the second quarter. I didn't care whether the rest of the way. I just knew that Miami USF didn't have enough to stay with them in the second half. I knew they were going to throw gadget plays, and he did. You know, they
emptied it out for sure.
Yeah, they did. Those field goals, though, man, it was Tony Sperano type stuff. Going for field goals is.
Well, I mean, two of them were 50 plus on 4th and long. So, like most college kickers, they get 0 points out of that. They got +6. So lucky them.
Yeah.
All right, Blue, we got some show and tell or what? We got some show and tell there. Carl
I do.
We got Carl Davis with the pick, and then Ralph went through with his 45-42, which is going to become a thing now.
Missouri has a bye week this week, unfortunately.
In honor of our Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah. Oh, Devin Hester.
Little Hall of Fame action.
I love it.
Oh,
I got an autographed magazine by Devin Hester.
And wait, it's not finished. We got the guy that came to town, and Don Bailey Jr., who I don't credit all the time, but he said to Eric Winston, who came to Miami as a tight end, he says, for a tight end, you're going to make a hell of an offensive lineman. And there he is.
Nice. Also, former president of the NFLPA.
And we'll look at the Athlon's guide from that year.
I like that. That's nice.
Memories.
There you
go. I like it. Great show and tell by Blue. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Subscribe to the 5 Reasons Canes.
Since it was brought up,
yeah,
we are now ranked ahead of Missouri. So they wised up and they moved us ahead of those frauds.
That's right.
Missouri was lucky to hold on there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Second time this year for them.
I know.
Vanderbilt is playing everybody tough, man. That's Pavia.
They can play competitive against bad teams, and they did. That last weekend.
I always said this, that why wouldn't you go if you're going to the SEC? Go to Vandy. You play the toughest schedule in the country. You play everybody. You play everybody. So, I mean, and that's probably the mindset now that a lot of the kids are getting better kids. I mean, but we'll see.
And honestly, Boston College, who Missouri also struggled with, is making some noise right now too. So
yeah, they are.
Beat Michigan State last weekend, so
they did.
Yeah. They're. I'll tell you what.
As much
as Danny didn't want to admit it, old Chestnut Hill's banging.
Well, once they brought Bill O'Brien in, and they actually brought a competent coach in for the first time in 10 years, then it makes a big world of difference.
Irish Catholic, man. That's
exactly
right in with the core there.
Miami plays Virginia Tech this Friday at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN, but make sure you go to the game instead, even if you get there late because you're in Hialeah and it takes you long to get there. Follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Check out the podcast on the 5 Reasons Canes podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcast, and stay tuned for the post game show Saturday morning after the game. We'll make sure we keep it locked right here on the 5 Reasons Canes podcast. Thank you so much to our sponsors, and we'll see you guys at the game on Friday night. Go Canes!
The 6 Ring Canes Show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Canes Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Canes Show. You know.